couple hours.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what people have brought to the new format. So today we have Tom Sorenson versus Sam Black.
Yeah, and both of them are on a nice little run. And people that remember last year's constructed format, it was very control-oriented and with a combo finish. And you're not going to really see that in either of these two decks. While they both have control elements, this is not going to be about who can get Kark down. Tom Sorenson, on your right, he has several of the new champions from Pantheon that really take advantage of the emphasis we put on one-cost champions that are quote-unquote slow. We juice them up a little bit in the set, and people have taken notice to that. So, for instance, he's running the full 3 set of both members of the Silverwing. That includes Silverwing Guardian and Silverwing Lancer. I spoke with Tom's team before the tournament began, and they talked about and wanted to emphasize their main path to victory is make something big, unblockable, unbreakable, unbanishable, and ideally untargetable, and hit your opponent as hard as possible with it. So they're running Brave Squire and the new Force Lance, and even some boutique pump cards like Go Wild. Sam Black. Sam is running a very almost traditional Sage Wild deck, and he's going to make the world burn. And it's tough to see who has the edge here, especially with so many new cards hitting the table for the first time.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see how this fares out, just because it looks like we're going to be seeing more of a traditional burn deck with the champions that are aggressive or put you up ahead a lot by being very efficient.
Right.
Versus Tom's more
he's aggro combo.
Synergistic buff elements.
Yeah, he's Tom wants to get there with one card. And Raging T-Rex might even be that card. Like, if he's just drawn 2 cards, so for all we know, he could come in, he could swing, lash, Force Lance, makes it unbreakable and breakthrough, and good luck. And that 2-card combo would put Sam at 14 or something. Did Sam just play Amnesia to draw 2?
Sam just played Amnesia to draw 2.
Okay.
Looks like he's leading with Brachiosaurus. It'll be interesting to see. Oftentimes when I'm playing Brachiosaurus against the deck that I don't know very well, it's much safer to just pass after playing it.
Right.
But most of the wild decks can't punish going really wide on champions, especially ones that have high health totals. So I wouldn't be that surprised to see Sam playing something immediately after the Brachiosaurus, which it looks like he is doing.
Oh, he's following it up with the Fist of Lashnock, and that gives semi-unbreakability. So he's unbreakable this turn. And
so that's Brack, Fist of Lashnock, and it can't be blocked by champions with less power. So in the matchup versus another deck, another wild deck, it's really hard to deal with because the 10 health is still.
I mean, it must be said. Tom's running 3 Brave Squire, which is an incredibly efficient method to pump up your champion to block, and then you have an unbreakable blocker. So maybe we'll see that, but it's not going to be Raging T-Rex that blocks, certainly. All right, we got Strafing Dragon in the attack zone, and what's that in Sam's hand? He's got a.
So it
looks like a Draka Enforcer?
Yeah, he's looking at his Draka's Enforcer, but I think he is going to probably Strafing Dragon and then follow it up with the Wolfspite. Yeah. He's just giving up on the recycle here.
Yeah, he is exchanging the fight in the discard pile for the fight on the board. I mean, he's got, what's that, 25 offense on the table. Like, he's in good shape.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I would have felt safer just trading with the Strafing Dragon. But
Right, and deal 5 to the head.
Yeah, I guess he's trying to play a lot around his opponent having some kind of buff, like a rage. But I mean, if his opponent has a rage, he's still going to get blown out on this turn. So
we might be seeing a rare gang block, and here it is. So Tom can have, like, right now, he can absolutely blow Sam Black out if he has an erase, a rage, especially a Brave Squire. Smash and Burn is an integral part of his plan, and he's going to follow it up with Brave Squire.
Wow.
That's an absolute blowout. So he doesn't have any breakthrough, so he's just going to break his opponent's 2 champions. Oh, there's the breakthrough, and I might be being a little too loud.
I mean, I'm actually not sure about the rage here, because doesn't the rage just provide 4 damage to the opponent? He's already got 12 plus 5 from Smash and Burn and 5 from Brave Squire.
Let's see.
And Brack has 10 health, and Brachiosaurus has 12. So it looks like the rage there is just, I'll deal 4 damage to you.
I mean, he might have wanted to pump it up prior to passing priority. Because the other... Well, no, he had already pumped it up there. It's true. It's I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he just did the numbers.
Oh, no, apparently, because Sam was at 25 before, and he only lost 3 health, he needed that to actually finish it. Yep.
Brock has 11 health, yeah.
Yep. That was a late change, if I remember correctly. Here comes Strafing Dragon.
So we know that Tom has the Fires of Rebellion in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be too surprised to see the Fires of Rebellion here to clear, but he might just try and bait it a little bit more so he can get some value out of Smash and Burn this turn.
So if you're Sam Black and you've just seen Sorenson expose that his deck is not yet another aggro control wild deck, but a synergy, 1-turn kill potential, how does that change your thought processes for how you proceed ahead?
Well, it's interesting. I probably would have tried to hold on to the erase, because I feel like erase would be a really good card in this matchup. If your opponent's strategy is, let's make one card big and strong, and let's do it by giving it Unbreakable, then I think one of the best cards to deal with that would be
Surprise! And yes, erase and similar. Surprise, it's the Raging T-Rex. Is he not revealing 2 cards?
I think he's just declaring that he's going to be using the Smash and Burn, or not.
Yeah. And it looks like he did not.
He's also playing the Heralds. So the Herald is also a pretty nice vehicle for those buffs, because it has both Breakthrough and Blitz, which means that
fascinating.
You can just drop it out the turn that you...
Let's talk about that play for a second. He smashed and burned the prepared Wolf token instead of the 6/5 Airborne Champion. Now, I understand that because that clears the last blocker, but...
Well, Strafing Dragon has 6 health, so it won't... Smash and Burn doesn't clear Strafing.
Oh, no, you're right. I've got the numbers backwards.
Yeah, but this way...
Is that going to be a muse to block?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
No. Yeah, no. Smash and Burn deals 6 damage. Oh, right. I was right. So he could have.
He's just trying to put some pressure on, I think. Like, it's often, if he can get his opponent into a racing scenario, then he's in a good spot. Because I think the plan is get my opponent to spend their gold first.
Yep.
And then when I have the clear, then I can do things like make a huge Blitz champion.
So here's Kalani Woodreader, one of the new cards from Epic Pantheon, and you see Sam had to look at it. Opponents cannot gain health. That's going to be, I think, literally irrelevant in this match. Right? Yep, it is. But a free blitzing 5/5 is very, very relevant.
So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people might look at this card and see the opponents cannot gain health, and then assume that's like the main reason you'd want to play it. But
yeah.
you can just also, it's a 0 cost, it's a 5 offense, 5 defense, and it has Blitz, so it's very highly statted for a 0 cost champion.
Yeah, Kalani is not paying much at all for the fact that he has the opponents can't gain health text on it.
I mean, we just saw.
A Drakus Enforcer, a gold. Sam's gold is down to block a free 5/5.
Yeah. And Tom still has his gold up, so he could do any. I mean,
He could do anything here.
He could. I mean, like, imagine another smash and burn here.
Yeah.
That would be insane.
It would. Rage is fine here. Lash would be fine, and he'd still have his gold. Looking at his deck list, he could also go wild.
Go wild.
Go wild would be fantastic, but he doesn't have any. He's either really slow rolling, or he doesn't have it. I'd love to see how many cards. Is that only 2 cards left in Sorenson's hand?
Yeah. So it looks like he has Brock and a Fires of Rebellion.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be Brock here to follow up the.
Interesting. I would have considered even Fires of Rebellioning the Draka's Enforcer during combat.
Here we go. Oh my goodness. Well, the only thing he can.
I mean, he needs an off-turn play, so I think he either has to take Surprise Attack or Rage, because he's either going to want to... So, assuming that his opponent's also keeping track of what he has,
right.
It doesn't really matter if he takes... If his opponent knows that he can use the Rage, he's probably going to use the Rage or draw 2, because his opponent already knows what his only play is, and that is to I guess he has more plays.
Yeah, Herald of Lashnock comes in and hits for 8. And Sam is on the back foot, and he's staring down a lot of damage.
I mean, a lot of these decks aren't playing any way to clear the board, aside from something like a Hurricane type effect.
Yeah, neither of these are running Hurricane. In my conversations with the various teams and looking at some of the deck lists, it looks like you're seeing Hurricane more than last year, but it's not prevalent. You're seeing Wave of Transformation as an adaptation against both the new cards that have come in and the card bannings. One of the things I heard a lot, which personally made me feel good, is that the bannings opened up the metagame and people are really happy with it. Wave of Transformation is a awkward replacement for Blind Faith. It costs a gold instead of 0, but it's going to remove all of the problems in a similar fashion to Blind Faith.
Yeah, I like this play a lot.
Yep.
The Strafing Dragon comes in, Dome Sandblack. Sandblack goes down to 8.
8 is a magic number.
Yeah.
The magic number is 8.
I mean, and then Tom's just a human token away from Fires of Rebellioning for lethal.
Yeah, Sam now has to block every single attack. And looking at his list, I don't see... Scaros would be not enough here, because it's not gonna take anything meaningful off the board. I'm trying to find a way out here for Sam. It's problematic.
Yeah, I think.
Oh no, that we're through. It's Flame Spike for another 2 damage. That and Fires of Rebellion will wrap that up. So, Tom Sorenson, one of the first people to ever qualify for Epic Worlds, all the way back in the early summer of 2016 last year. He picks up a win, and he's up 1-0.
Yeah, I'm liking what I see here. Honestly, we haven't really seen a lot of decks in previous metagames that are just really chalked with effects that increase champion stats.
All right, we're now going to move coverage over to our other match, which is Derek Arnold, he of one of the best Epic blogs on the internet, against Hampus Eriksson. They're both 2-1. They both, they have to win out to have a reliable chance. Hampus's deck is another, it's a similar style to what we just saw Tom Sorenson play with, make a thing and pump it and make it unbreakable. Hampus's deck has more more good cards in it, but not by much. Derek Arnold's deck is
it's almost hardcore burn.
It's hardcore burn, but it's running 1 wave.
Oh yeah.
A wave transformation and 3 erase, and that allows him and 3 lesson learned and 3 ancient chant. In other words, how to take a burn deck and make it better. You
Right.
add in a little slice of sage right on the top. Lesson learned, Flame Strike has been a thing for a year and a half.
Right. Yeah, I mean, every good dish needs a garnish. But, yeah, I think Hasty Retreat actually
Yep.
is the most interesting thing for me, just because it's really a tech choice. I mean, you put in Hasty Retreat because you know you're going up against those big wild decks, and Hasty Retreat does a good job of punishing things like Rage and Lash in a way that almost no other card in the format does. I mean, you have Hasty Retreat and you have Spore Beast, and those are effectively the only ways to remove a large champion from an attack for 0.
I saw, looking through the deck list, many spore beasts. Easy for me to say. Here's a Misguide Herald. Many more of those than last year. I think it was a sleeper hit from last year's event, and people are reacting to it now. What do you take here?
Oh, I think the T-Rex is usually a good call. I mean, you always want to be full on cards in hand, so if you don't have a full hand of cards, a full grip, then you want to go for that.
It's true, but
He's also Derek also hasn't spent his gold yet, so if you go for the Draka, it can end pretty bad.
it's true.
you.
But man, putting 9/9 in the air, a lot of when I see these sorts of matchups, there's a lot of beating up each other on the ground, but it's rarely actually one on the ground. It was in the last game, certainly. But it's one either from an early tempo play that's then burn out later, or someone punching through in the air, especially in a world without blind faith. So one of the things blind faith did when it was legal is it made airborne almost a meaningless keyword. Not quite, but almost. That's no longer true. And especially people that have been playing in the online app where we don't have blind faith, you've seen that.
I think we're going to switch back to our main match with Tom Sorenson and Sam Black.
Okay.
So it looks like
Thought Plucker.
yeah, I haven't I've from what I've heard talking to people, it seems like a lot of people are liking Thought Plucker less and less as they have been playing with it.
Yeah, there are many, many ways to profitably break Thought Plucker, and it's the very smallest of the champions that cost 1. The only thing smaller is High King, really, and High King isn't seeing play partly because even though you get to zap something every single turn, it died to everything. Well, Thought Plucker dies to all of the same things, and the value that you were getting previously has been slowly but surely negated by other cards that have come out since the first set of the game.
Yeah, well, I think the main reason that you really want to play Thought Plucker is you have ways to abuse the Thought Plucker, like Final Task and Necromancer Lord are basically, and what that means is you want to be playing a very specific type of deck.
Yeah, you're building a Thought Plucker deck, and that was not true a year ago.
Right.
Or it was a little, but not as much now. Oh my goodness. That is a Hound of Draka for 5, X equals 5, and that's going to take out the Wood Reader. It's also going to take out 5 from Tom. And he's going to follow that up with a pair of Flame Spikes to finish off the board. And that is...
Look like a lightning strike and a flame spike.
Oh, yep.
So that way that clears off the both the T-Rex and the Strafing Dragon.
You see Sam Black going with the gentleman's rule of keeping exposed cards so that people don't have to write stuff down. I like it when people do that. Also makes coverage a little easier.
Yeah. Right. So
Sam is a mile ahead right now.
Yeah, I mean, even just that Muse, it's going to like after spending effectively 2 cards in hand to deal with what was in Tom's board, he still has more. He's still ahead on hand in terms of both cards in hand, cards in play, and potential cards given the Muse that's just sitting there.
I think I'm a little confused about the game state.
So it looked like...
So Tom's turn is just starting now? Is that
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam played the Scaros and then attacked with the Muse.
Sure. Well, really only one option to take here, right? It's got to be the Smash and Burn.
I mean, I think it depends on what plays he has. The Lash... the main reason you take the Lash is so that you can swing, basically. I don't know what else Tom has in his hand, but I think that you're going to need to find a way to deal with that Scaros. Like, there's no way you're taking 11, and you don't really want to chump with the...
No, it seems like he's setting up a play where you're going to, next turn, play Smash and Burn defensively, draw 2 cards, take out his attacker. Your champion would survive, if I'm right?
It'd go to
It'd go to 1 health, right?
You go to... It has 6, so...
Oh, no, right, you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I think if you're Sam Black here, you dig for a Rage or a Lash so that you
he's doing it right now. He's playing Smash and Burn just as a draw 2.
Right. And that way, if your opponent makes the mistake of just going for the Smash and Burn play, then you can remove their blocker and then play your Rage or your Lash. Yep.
So, Smash and Burn from Sam Black's discard pile on the ally ability from Raging T-Rex coming into play deals enough damage to the Herald of Lashnot to break it, and so now Sam's gold is down, but he has nothing but air and opportunity in front of him.
I mean, this is exactly what Sam's deck wants to do. It wants to play big champions. It wants to basically
keep a full grip.
Yeah, and then do better than 1 for once. So, that Smash and Burn was a draw to kill your blocker, and it wasn't just a token. It was an 8/6 that was threatening to, break. And then Scaros is going back to hand.
Oh God, that's bad news. He's just bounced back Scaros with his opponent having a hand full of green cards. Yeah. Yeah. The Muse living is usually a sign of the game being out of control. He just discarded a Smash and Burn because he ended his turn with too many cards in his hand. That is for value, kids. There was I forget who it was. It might have been Thomas Dixon or somebody else from Pluck You that was saying that last year, it's Lister now, but the first card your opponent draws off of Muse is no big deal because it's just replacing itself.
Right.
But if they draw a second card off of Muse, then chances are you've lost because of what that being true implies. And the fact that he has been unable to find 2 damage to clear off the Muse.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that while that is true, it's also generally because if you can't deal with a Muse by the time it draws 2 cards, then you just don't have a way to deal with the Muse at all.
Right.
And if you have a Muse,
Sam Black's got 9 cards in his hand, and he just amnesia for recycle, and so now he's got another green card in his hand. I think he has 9 green cards in his hand, one of which is Scaros. He's going to draw a card off of Thought Plucker. This may be the largest Scaros in broadcast OP history for Epic.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has 1 Misguide Herald in hand, so he's not going to hit.
Oh.
He's not going to hit the maximum hand for Scaros, even though he may have 10 in hand. Yeah, Tom's in a rough spot because he still has to do something about the fact that...
Well, he has to do something about the fact that Top Blocker, I believe, is currently attacking him.
Right, and then let's say he does nothing about that.
Right.
And the Scaros plus the Smash and Burn can clear off the Brachiosaurus, if that's what Sam wants to do here.
Well, he does nothing. Force Lance is discarded by Tom. He didn't really have anything to recycle, and he's not in a position to attack. But, man, it's tough because that Force Lance is part of his win condition.
Right, yeah, I mean, but basically, what he wants to be doing is, turning that Brachiosaurus around the following turn and then using the Force Lance. But now that he has no discard pile, the Force Lance is pretty useless because you can't recycle with it anymore.
Right.
In fact, he may even have just been planning to use the Force Lance here this turn to kill the Raging T-Rex while drawing a card.
So if you're Sam Black here, you're probably just letting that
You're probably just
die.
play Scaros.
Yeah. When in doubt, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So X equals 8.
I don't know if I could help myself if I just was like literally in an official tournament. I have the Scars for 8 available, and it also flame strikes my opponent.
It's better than Flame Strike.
Yeah, Flame Strike Plus.
Flame Strike Plus, you get a leftover of an 11/11.
Plus some extra benefits and kill Brachiosaurus.
Must be nice. Pretty sure Tom's going to go down to 9 here with this Muse attack. So we have a new high score. Yeah, I think Tom is just taking a bunch of notes and scooping it up. Oh no! Let's see. He's going fishing. He's got a Rage in his hand, and he scoops it up. We're done here. All right, so we're going to go to a third game between Sam Black and Tom Sorenson. Now they're both 2-0-1, which means a loss here for either one of them. They're still in contention, I believe. We've got 6 rounds of play, so 4-1-1 is probably enough to get there. All right, so we're back on our backup matchup. Here we see Derek Arnold on the left, Hampus Eriksson on the right. And Derek is up a game, and he's up in health, but he's down on the board. There's that Air Force I was talking about earlier, about how a lot of these matchups now can devolve into to generate down into just controlling the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's also something to be said for just pacing out your plays. So things like T-Rex, the slow plays are much better earlier in the game than when the airborne champions are threatening to race you at the end of the game. Playing something like a T-Rex might just be the losing play because you're not going to actually be able to deal with the airborne threats on their turn.
Yeah, and again, that is one of the major changes between this year's meta and last year's meta. Removing blind faith has made combat much more interesting, and I'm really glad to see that change filter through the competitive scene.
Yeah, when you have competitive games and people are literally fighting over which champion's going to win combat.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, So I think
is this a united attack? Is that coming in together?
Oh, interesting.
So there are a couple of reasons to do this, but that would involve playing around cards that I'm pretty sure are not in Derek Arnold's deck.
Yeah, I mean...
So for those of you that are relatively new to Epic Card Game, you can attack as many times as you want during the turn. You don't have one phase. And you can attack with one or more champions at a time. However, if you attack with more than one champion at the same time, if your opponent blocks any of them, they block all of them. So if this is a joint attack, and I believe it is...
Well, I'm pretty sure if that's the case, then Hampus has removal in his hand, because what he's saying is, what he's broadcasting with this attack is the only way I lose this turn. The only way that attacking as a group is bad for me is if... the only way attacking as a group is better than attacking singly, which means that I can remove any single flying blocker you play. And I'm mostly worried about something like Ice Drake or Ceasefire, because if you did do that, I can just blow it.
And Ceasefire isn't legal anymore. Yeah, right. So Ice Drake, I'm a little surprised actually to the amount we're not seeing it. I thought that it would be the nouveau Ceasefire, but I have not seen all the decks yet. Later today, I'm hoping to have a complete metagame analysis. We have a couple of people getting all of the decks in, and that's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, Ice Drake is also kind of a sleeper card in the sense that it's been there since the base set, and it's not... It's kind of unassuming. It has airborne. It's a 6/8.
By the way, Hampus Eriksson just pumped up his Kalani Woodreader to 13 offense. And Derek Arnold had 13 health, and Hampus Eriksson has forced a game 3.
There you go.
Sorry to cut you off, but that was unexpected, and then suddenly Hampus just casually plays a couple of pump spells, and oops, I win.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that Go Wild can sometimes be a deal 4 to your opponent, draw a card.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty much exactly what you want it to do.
So, I have no idea how we've come to this board state.
So Sandback started the game, opened with
Misguide Herald flip over. Yeah, I got
into
it.
a Raging T-Rex.
Yep.
And he's deciding which cards to reveal.
Yeah, because normally you would play Raging T-Rex first, but obviously he didn't have it in his hand, or I'm assuming he didn't have a Raging T-Rex in his hand.
Yeah.
And T-Rex is going to be bounced. So I picked up this play from Sorenson last year at Gen Con. So basically that implies that he gives up. He assumes that his opponent is going to have infinite cards. So he does not care that he's going to bounce T-Rex back in because he's going to have infinite cards and he's only going to have 1 gold. That's slightly less true now with cards like Lashnock's Will.
Yeah.
But we're not, I don't think Sam's running it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's also Brachiosaurus and things like Surprise Attack, Zero Cost cards, Misguide Herald, those all let you, skim the edges on how many cards you can actually play in a turn, even when you have a lot of 1-cost cards. But honestly, seeing as how that erase worked out for him last game, I think that Tom has realized that the main way for him to win is to stick something that his opponent can't deal with because, he's got big righteous champions, he's got early beaters, and those are the kind of things that he really wants to start pushing as early as possible.
Yeah, he has flipped into Herald of Lashnock. And so we go from Herald to Herald, which is always fun. And he's going
to Herald?
Yes. And his Go Wild.
Go Wilds. I really like the Go Wilds pick here, just because if let's say he has a Brave Squire in his hand, I mean, that already
off
represents, 17 damage right away. He could even consider using it before he attacks, which is possibly what he's thinking about right now, is whether to...
Yeah, if he has it, the only thing he's soft to at that point is bounce effects and Wave of Transformation, and Wave is not in Sam's list.
But we have seen Sam play races.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a tough choice because it looks like
he's going with he's going with the Force Lance, which is the new toy for Sage. We're now getting to the point where it's very difficult to put in all of the free cards of any given color that you might want to. Sage especially has so many good free cards, and you can only have 20 free cards in your constructed deck. And not all of them are going to be Sage because of the constructed deck rules.
Right.
So here's the Force Lance followed up by Go Wild. So he's drawing a card off of that, and was that Rage? He doesn't need it if it's Rage.
Yeah, I think no matter what, he just lets this go unless he has another Go Wild.
That's going to be 14 damage in, putting Sam Black down to 15. Ow.
Right. Yeah, honestly, if his plan was to play the Smash and Burn there, I even would have considered blocking with the Misguide just to gain 7.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why he didn't. Unless Sam is worried about having a blocker for Sorenson's Misguide, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, he also might be...
Or he might play Skara in a minute, and that's going to clear off Sorenson's Misguide, which means Sam Black can attack with it and get in, although super risky when you're at 15. Like, you're now into Flame Strike Lesson Learned territory.
Yeah, no, he has to play Skaros here.
Although, to be fair, Tom does not have Lesson Learn.
Especially knowing Tom's deck. He has lots of buffs, which means that his main weakness is
a sweep.
Having a thing in play. Like he needs a thing in play to make bigger.
Yep. So look at the only free card that Sam has shown is Lightning Strike.
Right. So unless Sam is not revealing a zero-cost wild card, Tom knows that the only zero-cost wild card he has is Lightning Strike.
So I don't know if Tom noticed it, but Sam's one Hurricane in his deck was just exposed right there. And
Yeah, and honestly, Tom can play around Hurricane.
he can play around off-turn
pre-buffing-
Hurricane. That's true. Yeah.
By pre-buffing before, like, let's say right now his turn starts and he rages before he swings.
Right.
I think that would actually be a decent play on.
Oh, but he doesn't, and he's not baiting the coin out.
Yeah, he figures Sam's going to block with the 3-2 with Misguided Heralds.
Yeah, but that's inviting disaster.
I mean,
I am in shock that this play is being made. Unless I don't know what he could play here, but Sam has spent his coin first, and one of the things that you see in Constructed Epic is that is inviting death. It really is. He's losing.
He's playing the Brachiosaurus.
Oh well, okay. That is a perfectly cromulent play.
To kill it with the Smash and Burn. He's triggering a Smash. He's playing Lightning Strike.
Oh, he played Lightning Strike as well.
He's really scared.
I mean, he's right to be.
I would probably block with the Misguide first, because that means either you lose your Misguide and then it's fine, you just keep pushing, or you.
Well, he had a window where he could kill it, and he knew he could kill it. And if he passes, then he may not have that window again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess he could be worried about things like Brave Squire and Force Lance, because we've seen both of those.
Yep. Yeah, that's.
I mean, I guess the main thing that Sam should be worried about from Tom right now is a Draka, because then he wouldn't have an airborne blocker for the 9/9 coming in. But
yeah, and his Hurricane's coin is down.
His coin isn't down because he has.
Oh no, he has it right. The green coin.
Yeah, he has a green coin. Lots of Brachiosaurus.
All the cool kids are doing it.
It's interesting. We're seeing a lot of Brachiosauruses, but I'm not sure if we still have Fire Shamans to go with them. If people have just been cutting them. And there's the Draka. So the question is whether Tom will see it here and rage before blockers are declared, because he knows that Sam has the Hurricane in his hand. I think it would be a really good play on Tom's part to pre-buff.
No, it doesn't look like he's done it.
Yeah.
That implies that he does not have a buff. Now, maybe he's super slow rolling, but maybe he didn't see the Hurricane. Like, Sam did not go out of his way to point out that it was there. It was there to be seen.
Oh, that kills his other champions because they've taken.
Because Draka was attacked. Draka attacked, and that No,
that was a good
so
play
maybe
on
that
Tom's
was
part.
maybe he was just offering the trade, and Sam says trade accepted.
Because he still has the 5/5. He can swing in with that right away if he wanted to.
But he didn't.
Yeah, I think at this point he's just saying, all right, there'll be a turn when I have nothing. When you clear all my stuff, and then I'll get you with this 5/5.
Brachiosaurus into Raging T-Rex, showing Raging T-Rex and Draka's Enforcer. So anytime my opponent plays Raging T-Rex and shows a Raging T-Rex, like, I kind of want to slump into my chair a little, because it's like, oh, here it comes again.
Same game where Raging T-Rex was returned to hand, right?
Yep.
So that's the same Raging T-Rex from the beginning of the game.
But now it's another one.
Oh, yeah.
And
Rage
so
never
it's
stops.
now, yeah.
Right, so I think if you're Tom here, you probably play the Strafing Dragon, clear off the Muse.
I agree completely. He's going to the head. Oh, boy.
No, he's just going to try and pump past it, because he has the Lash.
He could have... So the number of ways for Sorenson to win here has just gone up dramatically. Flame Strike plus Flame Spite, easy for me to say, takes him off the table.
Yeah, also, Sam has to be very careful about ground blocks.
How do you mean?
Well, like, let's say he attacks the Brachiosaurus, like, what's the block for Sam to do?
On the swing back?
Well, I mean, like, let's say Sam's like, all right, I'll put my Brachiosaurus in the way, and then his Brachiosaurus gets smashed and burned or something, and then suddenly he's behind on the ground again.
So Sam has Fire Shamans in his deck, and at least one in his hand.
Right.
Looking at Tom's deck, I don't see it.
Now, even though he has the Fire Shaman, keep in mind he doesn't actually have a gold right now, so he's just considering to preemptively play the Fire Shaman.
It gets another blocker on the board, sets up damage for the next turn.
I mean,
if you're Tom Sorenson, though, you've got to be really disappointed by a couple of cards that would help a ton in this match not showing up. Like, neither of the Silver Wings have shown up, and
we saw one of the Silver Wings in a misguide at the very beginning of the game. but a different card was taken instead.
Okay. Well, here comes Strafing Dragon. Every attack here is implying lethal. So this is almost an required response.
Right. Sam's just like, all right, what do you got? Like,
Sam has no free airborne things left unless he has a third muse in his hand.
Yeah. I mean, even so, I think Tom's just trying to count up the math.
Yep.
Here. I'm not sure what removal he could possibly have in his hand for Sam's stuff. It's too bad we haven't actually seen any of the Lashnock's Will. I feel like that card would be a really big.
It would be a difference maker
in this matchup.
So Sam has played the Enforcer.
It's interesting having seen these decks play against each other. I would argue that Tom is the aggressive deck and that Sam is the control deck, basically, because he's put in a position where he always wins the long game. He has the most cards in his hand.
So here we see Sam Black blocking with both, even though Strafing Dragon does not have Breakthrough. We've already seen one Rage played, and it's on the bottom of the deck. There are a number of ways for this to pick up Breakthrough, but now, I mean, at this point, it might not even be worth it. And I think, we're just doing that. So that Enforcer, there we go, is flipped over.
So Sam has the other muse in his hand. So I think that's why he was
fine to do that.
Yeah, he's like, if you have the Draka, then you also need a Breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just have one.
So here's Brachiosaurus.
I mean, the Blitz champion he's probably the most worried about is Draka, because that thread's basically lethal there, because he knows he has the Lash in his hand.
Yep.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. Brachiosaurus is coming in. If you block with Brachiosaurus, you put in an awkward position because you've already spent your golds.
Bounce. Sam can't take this, but if he blocks it, he's almost certainly dead.
Well, he has to block it.
Silver Wing Lancer. And he's got to read that. It's Blitz, it's unbanishable, and it's unblockable by little things, and that includes Muse, and this implies death for Sam Black, and there it is. Wow. As I said, thank you, Tom, for making me sound like I know what I'm talking about. He was looking for those Silver Wings because they would... They'd carry him to victory, and so he has. So Tom Sorenson continues his undefeated run. He's on 10 match points, 10 tournament points going into the final 2 rounds, and he only needs a little bit more to finish it off. So now we go to our other match, and Hampus Eriksson has a healthy lead. How? I mean, there's certainly some. The Silver Wing Guardian, that does some business. It gains health when you play it. It also has righteousness, so that...
I guess it's been blocking a lot of things.
Yeah, maybe.
It's interesting that we see a deck that has the health gain and the Kalani.
Yeah,
and the other deck doesn't have it.
So one of the interesting questions that we were dealing with in development, at one point... Kalani, I believe, said players can't gain health. Does no one, including yourself. And that was obnoxious.
Yeah, I mean, also, if you're playing a deck, the nice thing about Kalani not being worded that way is it lets it work like this. You can have a beat, like a beats deck, where you're trying to get in with your righteous champions, and then still play Kalani more because it's an aggressive, nicely costed, splashable zero-cost champion than anything else. Because the Wild doesn't have a lot of those. If you wanted to play a Wild zero-cost champion that was nicely statted, then you would either be looking at something that you can't really splash, like Ribus or Worm Hatchling,
right? Or
you'd be playing something that is more situational, like Ankylosaurus.
So interestingly, here that's a Force Lance on Kalani, and this is pre-combat. And he is flash fires. So it's 2 to each. So Derek Arnold is down to 13. Hampus is down to 27. Surprise! What is he looking for?
It's interesting.
I don't understand the surprise attack there. Surprise to Brachiosaurus. Okay.
So then he's going to smash and burn on the Kalani, I guess.
Yep. That sounds good to me.
But he wanted to surprise deck first so he could get some information by drawing.
So that is 7 coming in. Smash and burn would make it 12 damage total.
Right. And he could possibly top deck lethal off of the 2 draws from Smash and Burn.
Yep. One would assume. I mean, looking at Hampus' deck, he's got all sorts of little things.
Well, even
Flame
just
Spike, Go Wild, off of Go Wild he could draw to finish it off. Brave Squire he could draw to finish him off.
Force Lance.
Another Force Lance.
Flash Fire.
Yep. Tough position for Derek Arnold to be in. Derek chunked Hampus' health down by 12. Here's Strafing Dragon. This is just going to chump block and deal 5 over the top.
And see, that was a nice play by Hampus there by Force Lancing pre-combat, even though Derek was already effectively locked into playing his best play was to play the Strafing Dragon, but now he can't. He has to 5 Hampus.
So it's interesting that he's still going to smash and burn. Oh, because he had a smash and burn hiding. I didn't see it. Mm-hmm. Oh, so now Derek Arnold is, as I said, he's about to go to 1. He apparently did not draw a subsequent pump event. So, yep.
Well, usually having your opponent at 1's good enough.
Yeah, I've come back from that, but not often. All right.
Not when you can't gain health.
That's fair. All right, so Derek's attacking. Is he instantly dead? The answer is no, because Hampus would have played it. So because he's not instantly dead, this is really interesting. Is it just block and die? It is. Jump block. That's 8 damage on the Raging T-Rex, but again, that's probably not relevant, because if it was, he would have played it already.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got Smash and Burn in his discard pile. Yeah, it's true. He could play a green card and finish off the Raging T-Rex, but honestly, you wouldn't, right? You would use it. You would use that green ally ability on your turn on the swing back to try and finish off.
I think you'd want to. Well,
there's Dirtle Burn.
Yeah.
What's the actual name of that card? That's that's Flames of Furious. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he didn't actually have anything to spend his gold on. Oh.
There it is.
Yeah.
So Hampus Eriksson, both these players are return players from last year. Hampus Eriksson wins Game 3, wins the match, and ups his record to 3-1 on the day. So that was 2 pretty nifty matches of Constructed Epic. Had a completely different feel from last year, and we saw good one-cost non-ambush champions being played for value for win, which again is a very different feel. Welcome back to the coverage desk. I'm Nathan Davis. Here's CJ Moynihan, the lead developer on Pantheon, and that was a lot. It was a lot to take in and a lot to learn from. Smash and Burn is apparently the belle of the ball this year in Constructed so far.
Well, when champions are actually fighting each other, that's when Smash and Burn really shines.
Yep.
Because we saw a lot of damage-based interaction in all those decks, which means that Smash and Burn does so much if people are doing creature combat the fair way.
Right. So I guess the adaptation, the question I would have is this. So let's say that you're building to play in events both online eventually and offline, and you wanted to try and respond to this sort of thing. If you know your opponent has done that plan, what's your plan to answer it? I mean, what's the crackback to this? If this is where the constructed meta is going, make a big thing, make it even bigger, and hit hard. We saw erases, and a race certainly helped in that, and it helped Tom. What else would you suggest players go with?
Well, I think you can have health gain and elements like it without being a deck that's designed to gain health. I mean, we have everything from Drain Essence to stuff like there's the new card that gains you health every time you play it.
Dirge of Skara.
Scar's
Gift.
Scar's Gift.
Scar's Gift.
There's
it's a gift of drain you for 2.
Yeah. There's like all the righteous champions.
Right.
There's the
and we were
new
seeing that a little
heralds.
bit in Hampus Eriksson's deck with his righteousness. You saw his health total up in the 40s.
Yeah. And honestly, when you're a deck that has cards that are designed to just subtract your opponent's health, when your opponent their health just goes up over time naturally, those cards become a lot more useless. And then you have all the tech answers, like things like Hasty Retreat and Spore Beast, which you can play if you just want to play another deck that fights that.
Right.
But then, I think there's also other strategies. I'm surprised that we haven't seen anybody try to use like big untargetable champions like we did earlier. We saw like Sea Titans and things like that.
The real steel style of deck. There's a card in the new set which is, I believe, called Steel Titan.
Steel Titan, yeah.
So Steel Titan has the semi-unblockable clause, and it also is untargetable. So, the big blue real steel deck. Between rounds, I'm expecting to see the rest of the decks. I saw 12 of the 36 decks, and I didn't see anybody going down that path yet. But who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll show up.
Yeah, and I think really what you have to do is, if your main worry is a big wild deck with lots of big champions, then you have to stabilize by making it so that either the cards they have in play and in their hand aren't very useful, or you are ahead. And then you just have to push that advantage by having not a tiny amount of health and things that they can't get rid of very quickly.
Okay. Well, that is great to know, and thanks for the help, because I'm hoping next year I can find my way here. I'll be on the other side of the wall. Maybe, probably not. So we're going to go to break. Round 5 will be coming up, and in the meantime, we've got some replay of this weekend's action. Thanks for watching. Thank you for your comments, and we'll see you in round 5.